when y'all are.
Coach Taggart mentioned, we were talking about Clemson being a really good defense, Miami probably being the next best defense you guys have seen, but he said they're quite different schematically. I mean, is there anything insight you give us without, sharing your plan, I guess?
Yeah, I don't want to compare the two. Miami's really good on defense. They're very sound. They're well coached. Coach Diaz, Coach Baker, they do a really good job. Their players play hard. They understand the scheme that they're playing in, and they got really good people that are doing it. So it's a challenging task for us, this week and every week that is. So got to prepare really well all week.
The run game the past couple weeks seems like it's been pretty productive for you guys. I guess what's been working with it so well?
Hand number 3 the ball, it's pretty good. So. A lot of times you don't want to make things difficult, so if you can make it even easier by snapping it to him, that he's getting it. And so we'll continue to feed him. Really good football player, very humble kid, and he's playing at a high level.
Cam's willingness and ability to throw the ball out of the Wildcat formation, how does that kind of unlock what you're able to do in that formation?
Yeah, and we'll keep expanding that. I mean, he throws the ball extremely well, and we've seen it since I got here in January. He kind of messes around before practice. He can make any throw that he wants to make, and he's accurate with the football, and he makes good decisions. So he's played the position, and that's why you trust him being back there. So yeah, it definitely adds a different dynamic.
You mentioned the decisions. It seemed like he may be able to be run read option too. At least he did that in high school. I guess what does he bring to the table in that regard, and how does that help you guys out?
Yeah, I mean, he can really do anything that you would ask a normal quarterback to do. I mean, he can make throws. You don't want to sit there and put him in a ton of drop back situations, but he can make the throws. He can read different second level defenders, and he can read for the run read situations up front, outside zone, inside zone. So yeah, he's pretty capable of doing it all.
3 offensive linemen made their first starts of the season, 2 I think first career starts against you. How impressed were you them going up, especially against a team that had 2 pretty good defensive ends?
Yeah, they played well. Coach Clement's done a great job preparing those guys. And what we were wanting, and we talked about it before, is guys that are hungry, the guys that are passionate about playing hard, and those guys have had a good week of practice, and they earn the right to go out there and go to work. And so Coach Clement's monitoring them throughout the game. They're continuing to play well, and those guys need to continue to get better.
How much of the timing of deploying Cam in that formation was just the matchup against Syracuse, but also to maybe make Miami, put some stress on them having to plan for that?
No thought about Miami at all. I mean, it was, hey, we're trying to get 1-0 every single week. You can't think ahead at all. We had toyed with it a little bit, and those guys were a heavy box, man-free team, and just trying to figure out ways to make first downs and touchdowns.
Going back and looking at film, how do you think Alex performed? What did he do well on Saturday?
He made good decisions. The thing about Alex and what you see from him is he moves the football. He keeps drives alive. He had a couple scrambles where he could have had a sack there, makes a guy miss, picks up a first down. He does a good job of getting us in the right play most of the time. We're trying to work the tempo, but he makes sure guys are lined up. And he gives, just a different little spark, different energy. And I think the players trust him being out there on the field. I was pleased with the way he played.
What's the favorite rivalry that you've been a part of?
I don't know. I'd probably have to go back to high school. I mean, I've had some really good ones in college. But when you're 17 years old, you think it's the biggest thing in the world to you. But this is a huge one. It's my first time being a part of it, and I can feel that it's different this week. And within this state, it's a big-time deal. So I'm excited to be a part of it and watch our guys play.
Who was the high school that your biggest
Brownwood Lions.
Did you beat them?
We did.
Okay, good.
It felt good.
We got DJ Matthews here too.
We just keep doing that.
Good.
I got Jordan Young to get him involved. I guess what has he been doing to put himself in position and then to go ahead and get that catch? I guess how big can that be for him going forward?
It was a huge catch because the ball's a little bit underthrown. James was under duress right there, and he went over the top of the guy, made a big play. But all he's done is work. He kept his mouth shut. He's worked. Everything that you've seen, kind of a guy like Keyshawn, and the fact that he's always doing the extra stuff. He's always working, never complaining. And so he's worked himself in the point where, he was needed because of some of the injuries, and then we felt real comfortable with him going out there and doing his job.
And some of the numbers that you guys have had with wide receivers, I know it wasn't a ton going into the year, and there's been injuries. And I guess what does that force you to do as a play caller? Do you have to work on personnel differently than you would if you had more guys?
Yeah, you got to be cognizant of it for sure. And we're thin a lot of positions. We've got 2 running backs, 5 receivers. 5 or 6 receivers. So you just got to be smart. You know, you got to try to stay healthy, protect the guys when you can. You got to be smart in practice as well, and get those guys to the game. And then obviously, you know, being in 12 personnel, 11 personnel, and then we can still get in 10 as well. But you got to be smart.
I apologize if you asked about him already, but Baselli, how did he do in his first start?
Maselli played well. He is what we knew he was. You know, he gets the guys in the right calls up front. His tempo is really good, and then he really didn't make any MAs, any bad mistakes. So those are the things that we wanted to get accomplished with him. I thought he did a great job.
How much better is he now than he was when you guys first got a hold of him?
I don't know when we first got a hold of him.
Well,
he was here in the program prior to
Sure,
I
I
was
mean, yeah, and
here.
then he came back, I guess, this spring maybe, or last fall?
He's a lot better. I mean, it took me a while to learn his name because he wasn't very good, and then he got in fall camp and started doing some good things, and he had a good summer and got put on scholarship, and we needed a change. We needed somebody who would get out there and fight and play well for us. So he did. He played well.
How did Darius Washington progress from game 1 to game 2?
A lot better, and it wasn't as wide-eyed for him being out there. He was ready, he was prepared. He's in the office last night at 9 o'clock watching tape. I mean, he prepares, that's what he does, and that's what you love about him. We knew if we gave him the opportunity, he'd make the most of it.
You mentioned his improvement, Andrew's improvement. To see the offensive line getting better too, I guess from where you inherited it to where it is now, I guess how much better is it getting, and what's the upside for this group moving forward?
The upside for him is just continually getting better. With the tempo and what we do, a lot of times there's not a lot of time to make a lot of calls up front. But Baselli in there, he's really smart. He gets the guys the calls quickly, and then I think those guys right now, they got a pretty good cohesion between them as far as wanting to play hard and wanting to play hard for our running backs and for the rest of the teammates, because they want to be really good on offense. We want to win football games, and so those guys understand for us to do that, they need to play well, and they're taking a lot of pride in it.
It's not really surprising, but I mean, y'all have had pretty staggering home road splits this year. I mean, obviously home field always important, maybe even more so in a rivalry game like this.
Yeah, and it's always important late in the year as well. The teams battle through injuries, the grind of the season, all of that, starts to play a role whether you want it to or not. So anytime you can get a home game late in the year, especially against a team that, was really good, you got to use that to your advantage.
All right, thanks, guys.